Hot 97 Morning Show. Ish gets real. The old man is here with Twitter's latest troll. Talib Kweli.
I do not live under a bridge, man. I am not a troll.
People walk by and you just start shit with them. I see a headline, New York radio, Kweli says doesn't support New York rap. Click on the article. It ain't even about that.
No, it's not about that. Shout out to DJ Vlad, who's
trolling New York.
The headline king.
You know?
The Get It Twisted King.
The Get It Twisted King.
No, Vlad he's developed a great business model where he figures out how
where
to.
he lies to you. You click on the link. Mislead.
Put yourself in when you go to see Vlad TV. When you go to see Vlad and you sit on that couch, you put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
So you better know. You better have your.
But a lot of blogs do it. Bossip throws out a headline. Funk Flex throws out a headline.
Right, but Vlad's the king.
No, he
of the headlines.
The father of the headline that has to do nothing with the article.
Yeah, Vlad is definitely.
Yo, so I responded because then
Yes.
while you're the latest troll on Twitter, they call me the Trill Troll.
See, now I didn't realize that you was the Trill Troll. I took issue with the troll label. And
yeah, cause you're not really me. I've just now adopted and owned like the whole trolling concept. When I called you a troll, I was like, "Yo, Kweli's out here trolling." You hit me on the side like, "What you saying?"
yeah, I definitely.
Yo,
hit you
act
in a DM.
like I did
DM.
you like Buckshot tried to do me and call me Uncle Tom and go two hand. I'm gonna get to you, Buckshot. Just hang on, my
Hey,
shit.
shout out to my whole boot camp clique.
Yeah,
you know what
shout
I'm saying?
out. I'm gonna get to y'all in a minute. I'm gonna let y'all live on me for a second while y'all got some new projects coming out. So I assume that Kweli was doing the same thing.
Right. See, now my thing is one, I dropped 2 albums this year. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm always gonna have some out. You know what I'm saying? So if I give my opinion, most likely I'm gonna have something. Most likely next time I say something that's gonna make your radar, I'm gonna have something new out.
But you do agree that the New York radio support of New York debate conversation is a hot topic that people are launching.
I agree, and I think you responded to
on.
my statement, which was really someone interviewed me and asked me about Trinidad James and Mano.
I knew,
and I think you responded to it because you're in the middle of it, being a program director.
I was basically alley-ooping you to get on this program.
Okay, well,
so that's the real trolling.
That's the trill trolling.
Exactly. That's the I see where he's going.
I'm gonna help him out real quick.
Let me get at him.
We're gonna create some
hype the audience. They're gonna jump in like, oh, he getting that. Yo, fuck that. Don't talk to Kweli like that. He's the god. How dare you, you old fuck. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, Kweli. Now we sitting here talking.
No doubt.
That's full
big business right there.
And you got something that just came out December 15th.
I did. And you already know the date and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Like Trill Troll.
I see how that works. Now I'm fully rolling. Now I'm in. Now I'm on board. I'm on board with the trolling. I'm on board.
But the conversation about what Trinidad James did, what was your opinion on that?
Well, it's funny. I was with Mano last night, man, and that's my good brother, man. Mano is one of, I love Mano, and I love what he do for the city, and I think that he was passionate and articulate in his statements to Trinidad that I heard on the phone. I didn't actually hear what Trinidad said, so I'm speaking at a loss. I just heard people's interpretations of what he said. I haven't actually gone and looked, but apparently he said something about Atlanta runs New York, and if you don't like it, I know Trinidad too.
And it was at an industry party, I believe in like Williamsburg, so it was like some hipster party, and they really like Trinidad James, so he was in a safe zone.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he was at just like some public.
Right.
But he also was saying that he is a fan of this region's music.
And how could you not be? How could you be a rapper and claim you like hip hop and not be a fan of New York hip hop?
And so then, because of his disdain with where it's at today, not only did he say Atlanta runs New York, but he went on to blame, obviously, radio and the local scene that doesn't support.
Well, see, I don't know if it's necessarily, it's like the fact, when we talk about the facts of the matter, you and me are in this business. I bet we've been in this for a long time. The fact of the matter is, if you turn on the radio in New York, this station or the other station, if you turn it on, you're not hearing a whole bunch of New York artists.
That's true.
And if you do hear New York artists, you're hearing Jay-Z stuff. You might hear some Tom Ford or something new or some throwback, Puff and Big in the mix. You're not really hearing New York artists and
or the popular stuff like a Nicki or those things.
And you have the mix show hours where both stations, I feel like the DJs on both stations in New York do their best to try to represent MCs they know in New York, people who come out to the club, show them love. You're going to hear Red Cafe. You're going to hear Joel Ortiz every once in a while. You're gonna hear people who got good relationships with the DJs. But all in all, when you speak on the facts, sometimes people think you making an assumption about the reasoning behind it. Like if I say New York don't play New York music, people might automatically assume I'm saying that's Ebro fault. That's Hot 97 fault. That's Power 105 fault.
The in vogue thing to do is blame Ebro.
Well, you got to take them lumps. You got to take the.
I like that.
With great power comes great responsibility.
No, listen, I jumped out here and claimed minors versus majors a long time ago. Shout out to Combat Jack, and was basically like, look, there's a hierarchy in this game, and just because you make music on your little laptop doesn't mean you're major league.
Now, for me as an artist, my decision when someone on the radio side says that is to be like, well, how much do I really need to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I need radio? Like, I think it was when we had our conversation on Twitter, I'm glad that it was set up that way because it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
but you don't need radio.
But I got to say that to you on Twitter, which it empowers me. Yeah. It empowers me in front of my audience to be like, you know what? We can go. I could come up there. We could kick it as homeboys. But you know what? I'm not up there like you got to play my record or this and that. Like if the DJs feel it, they're gonna play it fine. If not,
but here's the key for you though, and I think for the people watching, you are willing to travel the world and work. You're not just sitting behind your Twitter timeline complaining.
Well, you know, I've been blessed to come in the industry, meet people like Corey Smith, my first manager, The Roots, De La Soul, Common, Mos Def. These are people I started with, and the touring thing was just heavy. Like, a lot of people think I'm from Cincinnati because I work with high tech early. Some people in this business don't even know I'm from New York. I'm a classic New York MC. I'm Brooklyn, you know, from the rooter to the tutor. I'm all the way thorough with it. But I've never represented as I make just New York music. I bring Brooklyn with me and New York with me wherever I go. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. I don't just exist in this space. I can't. I'm bigger than this space. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from this space. It's giving me everything. Everything that I am as an MC comes from my upbringing in Brooklyn, New York. Everything.
But you want to broaden your base.
Well, it's not even so much I'm willing. It's like I am willing, but I have no other choice. You know, like I'm not about to sit here and wait for someone to co-sign me or wait for someone to give me a look. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm out there. Like that's why I got QualityClub.com popping right now. I'm not about to wait for the next record deal and see if it makes sense and somebody offer me some nonsense and this and that. Like I got my fan base already. You know, that same thing Beyonce just did. Like if you have an established fan base, you can go directly to them. You know, you don't need to mass market and blanket everything and spend your money and your resources trying to catch everybody. Just go directly to who rock with you.
So do you encourage cats that don't have a fan base? How now they looking at you like, yo, but yeah, Qual, like you've been around 15, like you got to run. You came in with Mos and you know all of that, but now I'm just trying to get popping. What do you say to them?
That's right, and it would be very hard for someone who doesn't have an established fan base to do what I just did with QualityClub.com. They could do it, and I think it'd be worth it, but the payoff would be way slower. But what I got to say to that is that the business model I'm employing is not something I learned from the old archaic business model. If I was still doing things like I did 10 years ago, I'd be another rapper bitching and moaning on Twitter, you know, looking for work on Twitter or whatever. Like, I learn from the people who come after me. So if a young rapper's looking at me like, how do I do it? Look around at your peers, because I'm learning from the TDEs of the world. I'm learning from the Nipsey Hussles of the world. I'm looking at Louis C.K. and Aziz Ansari in comedy, or I'm looking at a Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper put out a mixtape that people bootlegged and bought so much, his mixtape ended up on Billboard. You know, he comes out of nowhere. No one was checking for no Chance the Rapper. He just made it happen. You got to just be so
resourceful, committed.
Like, look at Soulja Boy. People who love real hip hop hate to talk about an artist like Soulja Boy. To me, at the time when Soulja Boy came out, he really changed the game. He had all the people that real hip hop hates. That's who they need to be paying attention to. You don't have to like the songs. You don't have to get into the music. But look at what Lil B has done. Look at what Soulja Boy's done on a bigger level. Look at what Macklemore and Ryan Lewis did. I seen it firsthand being on tour with them. They straight independent. They got Warner Brothers working for them, getting their radio spins up. Like they gonna be caked up for the rest of their life off of one album because they did it their own way. They went to YouTube.
But it did take them 10 years to build their brand of touring.
Course.
But
of course.
What we see today from Macklemore started 10 years ago.
Of course. And he was still doing it. Like Macklemore had an established fan base long before he made the XXL cover. You know, it's just the timing was right. They had the right record, the Same Love record. It was the time. Their timing was right now. But you're right. If the established audience wasn't there for 10 years and like that's why I said originally, it's that slow. It's not going to happen overnight. Like, you know, I'm gonna be able to hopefully pay some of my bills with the sales from my record from just this week from my fans who have supported me. Not a whole bunch of bills, a light bill, a cable bill. You know but some bills.
But you're going to tour 200 dates. You just did 200 dates in 2013.
Yeah, because I got to depend on me. You know, people in this internet age, the only thing that seems to have value to people don't value music. They don't value supporting the artist music. They don't understand that. I don't want to give them this a nonsense BS MP3 that's not mixed right with cheesy instruments. I want to give them a full experience. I want to give them the engineer.
Well, because they're used to getting the bullshit online, which isn't done well. Now the great shit comes, and a lot of people don't want to pay for it.
Not only they don't want to pay for it, they actively work against pay for it. Like they'll actively be like, "Why do I have to pay for it? Why don't you give me more? Why do you know? If you, I had somebody saying to me like, since you're doing it yourself, shouldn't it be cheaper now?" And it's like, you know what I'm saying, like. Or people feel like, yo, until I hear it, like I just come from a different generation. If you say you're a fan of someone, you know, you don't need to hear it before you buy it. You might want to. I'm a fan of the Roots. I want to hear their new shit. I'm
gonna buy it every time.
But I'm gonna buy it regardless because I'm a fan like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a casual fan, but at least admit when you are. You know what I'm saying?
So you say, I don't need radio play. I don't need Hot 97. I got a brand. But you'll hit me. I know you trolling the audience right now. You'll hit me and be like, yo, I got an album out, my G. Run my Miguel joint. So is that a Hot 97 Kweli thing? Well, because we have a relationship?
I'm glad you said that. I mean, there's needs and wants. I don't need Hot 97. Do I want Hot 97? Yeah, I want all the looks I can get. Now, with the Miguel record as a single, I'll hit you and because I have a relationship with you and be like, yeah, run the Miguel record. And you'll look out for me. But guess what? I had to pay somebody to get that record played too. And if I didn't pay the money that I paid, the only spin I might have had would have been a couple up here at this station.
So but that record paid who to do what?
Our independent radio promoter.
And where did they get his job? And where did
I saw the reports back when the record was cracking a little bit. I got to about 1,000 spins. For a hit.
That's like a national thing.
Yeah, what do you need to consider a hit? What, 2,000 spins?
I don't even know.
Something like that. I got to 1,000 spins, and I paid an independent video, independent radio. I got the video on MTV. I got the song on Love and Hip Hop.
Now is that you're paying them to do the work, or are you saying that's payola happening in the country?
I'm saying that
because you called me.
It's not payola because
you didn't give me shit. I played it.
That's right.
And whoever this indie guy is never called me.
Well, you know, he called someone, but he don't have to call you because he knows I got a relationship with you.
Right. So you're paying him to call. That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
Yeah,
because everybody likes to come to me and say Hot 97 payola, and I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
See, here's the thing. I can't speak on how these indie promoters do what they do because I don't know. If I did know, I would speak on it. I don't know. They are very good at keeping it a mystery. And it's their business. You know, even in the conversation I have with these indie promoters, I wouldn't say any of their names, but people in the business know who I'm talking about. You know, it's like, yo, and it's like we only have a conversation on the phone, nothing on email.
So it's some mystery shit.
It's some mystery shit, definitely. And the only reason I'm speaking on it is because people got it twisted about the rudiments of this game, about the back doors of this game. I'm not saying this to say, you know, to blow anybody up, but the indie promoters I spoke to, all of them tell me the game is fucked up. They like, yeah, it's fucked up, dog. Like they agree with what I'm saying, but look, they just trying to get their paper. They people who've been in this business for a long time. They got relationships. You know, a lot of these dudes have used to promote records to radio or worked in a label. They got relationships. Why not use they email list?
Got it. So you're saying you're cutting a check to somebody because they're an OG in the game, and somebody's gonna pick up their call faster than they're gonna pick up just the phone.
Now it may not be like how it used to be back in the days with the strippers and the cocaine, but there's some sort of relationship.
There's something moving in them strip clubs. I done had that conversation with a lot of cats too.
But there's some. I can't speak on it because I don't be in that part of it. I'll be on this side with the artists, but I do know it exists, and it's pressure on the DJs because they got to deal with that, and then they got to deal with their playlist, and they got to
because I tighten up. It makes me mad.
What does?
Right? The notion that where I sit, I got into an argument with shout to B. Rap Radar, I got into an argument, and I barked on him because he was like, "Oh, yo, payola." I was like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?"
See, but
nigga?
see, that's the thing. See, that's the people don't know. See, payola, it's payola. We just don't call it payola.
Because at that point, once you bring me into the conversation, now you're putting that on me.
But your defense is ironclad. I think I remember from that argument, you said you was bringing up how people got fined and people was losing their jobs, and that's real. So because that happened. Just like the drug game, you just go underground with it. They just figured out a legal way to make it happen. All right, we're just gonna launder our money through this. We're just gonna figure out a different way for everyone to eat. You know what I'm saying? But we can't call it payola. We can't do it.
No, you can. But I don't know what the fuck is going on in wherever USA. I know what's going on inside these walls. I don't even know what's going on in the strip club in Queens. You understand?
But what I will say that even if you, Ebro, say I don't personally take payola because these things happen, because these relationships still exist. This is what makes a record, helps to make a record popular, and that helps to drive the record spins in the club, and that helps to drive the people who call up the Hot 97 and is like, I like such and such record because I keep hearing it, and this and that, and then now you're forced to throw that in the rotation because it's a record that the people are asking for.
Right,
it still drives.
Right, and that's why I say I don't know what's going on in the strip club when somebody goes in there and throws $30,000 in the air, and the DJ gets some of that, and the club gets some of that, and everybody in there with titties in their face drinking and shit thinks that song's the shit. And so then I'm talking to the DJs like, yo, what's the shit? And they be like, yo, every club I'm going to, niggas is moving to this. Well, yeah, they moving to it because everybody's drunk, it's titties in their face, and $30,000 just got thrown in the air. But y'all telling me it's the shit. So then up here, I put everybody on a strict list. So you can only play songs from this list, and you can only play these approved songs. And then everybody in hip-hop get mad like, yo, why you can only play these songs? Well, you can only play these songs just because these are the only motherfucking songs I know that got research to support us playing them. Because if it don't got research to support it, how do I know who's paying who to do what?
Right. And then
so you see what I'm saying? So it's a catch-22.
And then for what I do, because they're not gonna play my new single in a strip club. You know what I'm saying? So for what I do, my fans a long time ago, when the internet first started cracking, when they realized you don't have to go to the radio and sit through the commercials and wait and hear 3 artists you don't like you go on the internet. And so a lot of my fans, regardless of age, whether it be fans my age or even younger fans, they not turning on Hot 97 to listen check for music like me. But then a lot of them get it twisted because they're also like, well, why don't I hear you on the radio?
Right, but that's because y'all don't come to Hot 97.
Yeah, and so that's my catch-22.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and on top of that, I'll even throw this in. The other piece of that is you're putting out music, you're doing shows. I wait. I watch the internet to see how those fans respond. I watch the clubs to see how those people respond. I'm kicking back, and everybody up here hates my guts because I got them on a strict list.
I mean, I think that at the end of the day,
and until motherfuckers prove themselves out there in the world, and I can monitor everything moving, that shit ain't getting on the major league box. This the Yankees, my G. This ain't motherfucker. This ain't the internet. This ain't all the, like you said about the internet where all the bullshit goes. This ain't that.
You know where you run into trouble with your major and minor thing? It's because in baseball and sports, right? You a great player. You come up from the minors. You make it to the majors. Now, every once in a while, your knees get bad.
That's right.
Something happens. You get disabled. Right. And sometimes you just a utility player. You're a bench warmer. And sometimes you might have been a star on the team, and then you get sent back down to the majors.
That happens
to the minors.
That happens too.
Now, when that happens to ball players, it's a hard thing to take. It's hard to know that at one point you was playing and now you just paying your bills. You have a talent. This is your skill. This is your career.
That's part of the game.
So you back it up. But it's hard to hear for someone to hear that when they know that when you artists that 10 years ago they was I know the truth is hard to hear. But I'm saying I'm not saying you being untruthful. I'm just saying this is where you run into problems.
No, but I don't mind the problems because I'm gonna be honest with
you
the
can't
people.
if you telling the truth.
I don't mind. Niggas can be mad at me all day. Buckshot's mad at me.
Shout out to Buckshot, man.
You know what I'm saying? He mad. My nigga, is the truth is the truth, my nigga. This is what it is.
So that show that he was talking about, I was on that show too.
Which one?
The one that you called the Sausage Fest.
I wasn't even talking about that show. That was fucking Premium Pete stupid ass said that bullshit. I was talking about the fact that up and coming rappers, one of the problems they have is they don't get no fucking pussy. So their music just sounds like some locker room debates about blunts and video games.
I mean, you know, it's got to be like that for teenagers. You know
they don't. Not for me. I ain't no teenager. Hey. And the people listening to Hot 97, guess what? If you think Hot 97 is for teenagers, it's not.
I don't know about that.
It's not. I'm telling you, we're targeted to 24 to 28-year-olds is my main target. Okay. Then we may span out to 18 to 34. But honestly, we're not up here doing stuff for teenagers. Teenagers may turn it on, but that's not who we talking to.
Well, at the end of the day, I think it boils down to, what you and me were talking about earlier. Everybody got a responsibility. If you were just in this because you were talented, you talented at rapping, you talented at DJing, you talented at being a radio personality, and you have enough talent where you like, I can make money at this. I don't really give a fuck about the culture. This is a hustle.
There's some people do that.
I can't diss that. But I'm not.
Yes, you can. I do.
Well, you can, but that's not. I'm not even focused on that.
Right.
Like I'm not
You
even
looking
focused.
past that.
Yeah. Like go fine. Like
do your hustle.
I care
whatever.
about the people who claim that they love hip hop, but then constantly throw the culture under the bus for the sake of their job.
Well, you was telling me you had got into a debate with someone who was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just getting paid, and he was a radio DJ.
He wasn't a radio DJ, he's a club DJ.
Oh, club DJ.
And to be fair, a DJ's job, a DJ is in a service business to serve the crowd. There are pretentious DJs who like, I'm gonna play what I want. I don't care. I'm not really into that. So I get his point, and I think that's the point he was trying to make, that as a DJ, my job is service.
Right, but how you went about it, he was like,
yeah, I mean, I think that that's fine if you wanted them hustling niggas, if that's all you care about. But if you coming to me talking about I love hip hop, you don't get to say that to me unless you showing and proving. And if you were telling me that you were playing records you don't like, and you telling me that you can't find a way to bring in a record that represents the culture of hip hop, and not just a record that's just cracking in the club, then you doing a disservice to the community. You don't get to say I do this for the love of hip hop. Just be honest. Say I do it for the money. I don't give a fuck about the culture. I'd rather the honesty.
But what we were talking about was the balance, and sometimes we get out of balance in hip hop. Like right now, we've been spending the last year trying to cultivate artists that we started 2 years ago putting on our Who's Next show, which you're very familiar with.
Is that what you was talking about with the younger artists?
Yeah, like the Action Bronsons, the Bodega Bams, the Flatbush Zombies, the
y'all
Joey
put Bams
Badass.
on my show last year.
Right.
Shout out to Underachievers. They on my new album, Gravitas.
They've done some stuff. So we try to create these moments that then they can build, and then the song begins to build, and then Flex and Slay and Rosenberg and the guys late night start hitting, and then it builds out of that, like Bodega Bam's Don Francisco or
Troy Ave.
Yeah. It starts to build out of those scenarios, right? So that cultivates the next wave, but it takes time, and people want that stuff to happen overnight. But that's our contribution, right?
Yeah.
Where I still got to play Bruno Mars, I still got to get your Justin Timberlake on for you, I still got to get your Hove on for you, right? I still got to get those on for you, but then I'm trying to hit you in the middle with some other things that may or may not become the next big stars, but it's a contribution. And for those purists out there watching this, they be like, yo, fuck that, just play that shit all day. My nigga, that ain't what this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and that's why it's like everybody got to accept. You got to know your position, but you don't just because you know your position don't mean you must stay in your lane
at all. Or even like your lane,
right?
Or even be complacent,
right? Like I know your position, and I hear you I see you on Twitter. I hear you up here. You've taken on the role of the villain. You know what I'm saying? Because I think you see both sides.
Well, no, I feel like the Trinidad James thing, myself, these moments galvanize, right? And people who weren't paying attention as a collective unit moving together may now be like, yo, man, fuck Ebro, man, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? He's the program director. We gon' run him out of there, or we gonna turn this hip hop shit up, or we gonna get this pop. You know what I mean? It just gives you a target, right? And I'm comfortable being that target for the sake of people developing out of that, right? I don't think Trinidad James on purpose was being a target, but I do think that moment caused.
Yeah. I think he when you look at somebody who from the outside looking in, you come from another region, you come from Atlanta, and you hear mass Atlanta artists on the radio all day. You come to New York and you hear them same Atlanta artists on the radio.
And you came here and you're like, wait a minute, I want to hear something else.
It's confusing. It's confusing. That changed. I mean, that part of the game changed when Clear Channel and MS and all these everybody started having the same playlist every city.
Well, unfortunately, MS don't have that many stations, money.
I know.
We got Hot 97 in New York.
I see the billboards.
No, we got Hot 97 in New York, and we got Power 106 in LA. Them is the only two stations, and the playlists are not the same. Now, when you talk about Clear Channel, to be specific, yes, all of their. If you go on that iHeartRadio app and you bounce around and you look at all their stations, all their stations is the same, and that's really, really, really how music in New York, specifically at Power 105, they play a lot of that shit. Future don't even like Hot 97 because I wouldn't put none of his music in rotation. And that's only because it only performed at a certain level. I gave some of his stuff a look, and he was on hooks of songs. But his actual singles, he took issue. He wouldn't even come up here for an interview. You know what I'm saying? Migos, them young cats came up here, and I was told them straight up, I don't really understand or like what y'all doing. I know it's popular, the Versace song, mostly because Drake jumped on it. Yeah. But that wasn't something, I mean, it played, niggas played it in the mix show, but it wasn't something that you heard at 10 a.m., right, on a Tuesday. If you don't hear something between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, it's not in rotation.
Well, you know, Hot is definitely unique in a unique space in the radio game. One being the originator of the hip hop radio format that everybody use, but to really just, I mean, I think it's not lost to me just how personality driven this station is. It's about the DJs and the personalities, relationships with the city, and people are held accountable. And people are out in the streets, and you know, I have a great relationship with Power 105. I mean, as far as the people there,
they're nice people.
They're great people. You know, I don't hear my music on there, and I definitely see the Clear Channel thing versus the MS thing. But you know, that's what we talk about is the bottom line of it, is the dollars and cents of it, and purists don't want to have that conversation.
Well, most artists, anybody in any creative space, not even in music, like in any creative space.
This is not a creative conversation.
No,
and that's what people assume because we're dealing with music. Music is rife for the motion and creativity. That's what the conversation is always about. You have to be able to know what you're talking about. Separate. Like when these conversations are never to be had in the studio. When I'm recording my music, I'm not like, oh, this song's gonna Flex is gonna drop a bomb on this or this.
Yo, I hate it when a nigga walks up to me and is like, yo, I got a song that's perfect for the radio.
Nah, man, that's a step backwards.
That's what I don't want.
Yeah, that's a step backwards.
I want some shit that's interesting, that when it comes on, people are like, hold up. It sounds different. You know what I mean? It sounds interesting. But unfortunately, those things are few and far in between. And sometimes the audience is slow to adapt. You know what I mean? They want things that are comfortable and familiar and sound the same.
But guess who's responsible for it no matter what? And I can't even complain about it. It's on no matter whose fault it is, no matter whether people are buying it, no matter whether the radio station is playing it or not, no matter whether it's fair or not, it's on the artist to adapt or die out. It's my responsibility to evolve or die.
Which is why now I know you caught flack for going on tour with Macklemore. You told me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And people coming at him and Ryan Lewis crazy, like disrespectful for bringing me and Big Crit on stage. Like, how could you be disrespectful to someone who's willing to put us, your favorite artist that you claim I'm your favorite, in front of an audience like that?
Like, what were some of the things people say? Like, for example,
like why they just look at it's like a tenure thing. It's like you've been in the game for this long, you have this amount of respect. As far as I know, this is the thrift shop guy. So how does he get to go on tour with you? But you clearly not paying attention to the business. You clearly not paying attention to the blueprint. You're not paying attention. Like, Macklemore is ironclad. Like, you can't say, he addressed all that white privilege stuff early in his career. He had a song called White Privilege. We talks about what the criticisms that he was going to get in the next 4 years, and he talks about them a lot. Like, whether you agree with his subject matter, whether his song about gay marriage or a song about sneaker addiction, he is tackling the issues head on. A writer just asked me, you have an album called Gravitas. You just went on tour with Macklemore. That's the opposite of Gravitas. I said I would beg to differ. I don't see anybody in the pop mainstream besides a Kanye West dealing with any social issues at all, and any music, not just hip hop. You got Kanye and you got Macklemore, and that's it.
Now, and with Kanye, do you feel like he's handling? I've heard from different factions in hip hop, leaders and thought leaders, and some people appreciate, me being one, the fact that he's out here being, for lack of a better term, the spazoid, if you will, in going at an issue that is about black creative value, right? Because most people think, would you talk, with the whole Sway thing, you ain't got the answers, and Sway was like, empower yourself. And what I felt like what Kanye, because he's emotional and he's liable to pop off, what he couldn't articulate and say was, Sway, I don't want to be in a clothing store on 125th Street. We did that already, right? We've been there, done that. I want our creativity, because these European high-end clothing lines are taking what we do and making it gazillions. When we create it, I want our value to be there. And I don't think he could articulate that.
No, I don't think he can, because I think, I'm blessed to have been in a space with Kanye before any of this happened, before there was Def Jam, before Through the Wire, and everything that I see now, he literally said was going to happen. Like, he said these things. He told me the names of the albums, the names of the song. He said this. So when this man, when I see him in an interview say, I'm a futurist, I'm 10 years ahead, I got no choice but to respect it, because I seen it with my own 2 eyes. A lot of people relationship with Kanye, he was already on the radio 5 times an hour. They was already sick of him before they even got a chance to know who he was. Same thing with Drake. I think Drake is bringing something to the game that a lot of purists claim they want. But because because the industry embraced him and the corporations embraced him, he's being shoved down your throat. That becomes a reason to be like, oh, they not even seeing the gems. Kanye was dropping gems, and the biggest gem that he dropped was when he said, I'm in outer space. And niggas ain't never even been in this space to know what I'm talking about. And that's why he can't articulate it, because he's talking about classism, he's talking about racism, he's talking about the future, and he's talking about it from a perspective that no one has ever been in before. So it just sounds like Jupiterian. It sounds like gibberish coming out of his mouth, unless you're someone who really does this for a living, unless you're someone who really has been around. Kanye is so passionate that if you have no passion in your life, you're going to feel threatened by that. You're going to feel like, you're going to feel small around him, because you're going to be like, why is he so sure of himself and I'm so unsure of myself? I
gave up the opportunity to interview him, and I let other people interview him just because I felt like I understood too much and I know too much. So me and him sitting down having a conversation wouldn't really give the audience what they want, because I feel like most people, I came out when Yeezus came out, I said Yeezus saved hip-hop, right? Because it pushed a boundary and went to a place that made us uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like Jesus a lot, man. But definitely, it's some of the most powerful lyrics, some of the most, it's great. And I don't think a lot of people are ready for it. But when I think about Jesus, I went to see Governor's Island show with Kanye.
Yeah, that was last summer.
Yeah, and
last
Rick
June.
Rubin, right?
Yeah.
And what struck me was the response from the audience when he performed 808s and Heartbreaks material. I remember when that came out. When I came out, the Kanye audience was like, he's bugging. What's up with this singing?
He's fronting.
What's up with this auto-tune?
They hated it.
What's up with the haircut?
Yeah,
Why is he wearing that jacket?
Yeah.
Now when you go to his concerts, those are the records with the biggest response. I remember when Andre 3000 came out dressed crazy, and everybody's like, yo, he's falling off.
Had the blonde wig. Remember
now
that?
He's the
and
greatest
the
rapper
pads.
ever.
Right.
These niggas is in the future. They see more than what you see. They're visionaries. And I know I'm a visionary. This is why I relate to it. You know what I'm saying? My vision is not as broad as maybe Kanye West is. My vision is a little bit more this way or focused someplace else. But man, when I hear him like that, I get inspired. Do I get frustrated? When he's frustrated, yeah, that's my man. I hate to see him be frustrated, not get his point out. Sometimes it seems like he's pained by what he's dealing with, and I don't like to see that. But I take in the inspiration, man.
I think the pain, and I can relate, the pain comes from the frustration of knowing that the people you love the most don't understand what you're trying to do.
I go through that all the time. I feel like,
and when
I love my people, whether they love me or not.
I mean the people who are watching and supporting,
I know
and
what
the
you
consumer.
Mean. That's exactly what, because I feel like that. You know, from my music, I put on for my people. That's what I do. And sometimes, it's frustrating when people are dismissive of that. When people complain about the state of hip hop, but are dismissive of those who put on. And the arguments to be made, will just make better songs, make bigger hits. I counter that with, I take the Pepsi challenge with any of my content. You may like one project over the other, but all my shit is of a superior quality. Like, when people talk about crack in the streets, like, I'm not talking about the social or cultural elements of crack, but in a business model, what I do is that crack. What artists like, because it sells itself. There's no big push behind it, So it does get frustrating when it's like, I'm really out here really for the people, and people are dismissive of it. But that just makes me go harder and makes me appreciate when someone who has the backing of the mainstream, like a Kanye, talks about the prison industrial complex or talks about racism.
The pain comes when somebody's watching this right now and they go, man, fuck these niggas. What y'all trying to kick knowledge?
Right. That's why I put that Menace to Society clip on. I got the Wormhole song about the Illuminati at the end. I put the Menace clip.
Right.
Like, what, nigga, you trying to kick some knowledge? Nigga?
Right. Yes, we are. And unfortunately, our communities, black communities, are so ass backwards because we're afraid to actually share great knowledge, because somehow, some way, it got seen as uncool to be smart.
Yeah,
or
like
informative.
I did shout out to my peoples at Complex. They did a list. You know, they do those lists. They did a list last year. And we actually became cooler because of this list, because I took issue with, it was 25 things wrong with hip hop. Number 7 was conscious rap is condescending and corny. And then right under it, they had a picture of me and Mos Def, like an old picture. So I took issue with it. 1, not my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you must be talking about some other nigga. But 2, like, just using my picture, and then we all in this together. You know, complex. Like, we all say
the nature of the name of your publication and your website,
right.
Complex, means that it should be
some
a little
complexity, you know?
dimension.
Yeah, so I made my argument in a polite, respectful way, and they got back at me. And I said on Twitter, I didn't disrespect them. I just kind of stated like, wow, you know, I felt, you know, I didn't take it like that. They got back at me, and they was like, word, we see your point. We see how us saying it in that way in that article, using your picture, was not quite what kind of made our point seem invalid. And then I was able to do a conversation with them, and I've done a couple of things with them since then. You know, but that conversation needed to be had because it was too easy to be dismissive of it, because it was too trendy. And, you know, people want to hop on these trends, and, you know, it's fun to turn up, man. It's fun to turn up.
Everybody likes a little ignorance.
Yeah, it's fun.
A little ratchetness.
It's fun, man. It's like,
but also righteousness. You need balance.
You need balance, and it's on everybody's shoulders. It's not just Lupe Fiasco job. It's not just Immortal Technique job. It's not just my job, Mos Def job. It's everybody's job. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody. It's all of us who claim to love the culture.
Talib Kweli, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure trolling you on Twitter and in person.
My brother troll.
You know
See,
what I
now,
mean?
no one else could call me a troll. You know, when you say I know the context now. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you know, it's just one of those things on social media, and I think, you know, a better way to say it would be provocateur. You know what I mean? Somebody that just provokes a conversation.
I'm an agent provocateur, so I'm gonna be like that whether I got a project out or not.
Right.
I'm just gonna be provoking shit.
But there are people who just, the term troll obviously got started by somebody who will just at you in a tweet and go, "Fuck boy." Like, come on, like, and
someone who's depending on negativity for the attention,
right? And you know, those bottom feeders and slugs like that, you know, y'all exist. You guys are part of the ecosystem, so we understand. But I really appreciate your time. You got a project
we all
out
God's
right now.
creatures.
What's your project?
Project is Gravitas.
All right.
It's direct to fan. No middleman. It's not on iTunes, Amazon. Shout out to all those outlets, everybody. But
this was you and your people.
This is me and my people. So this album's got beats by Rich Kid, Lord Quest, Static Selector, Oh No, a track by the late, great, legendary Jay Dilla. It's featuring underachievers. My man Gary Clark Jr. is on the guitar.
Man, that dude's album.
He is. You know, Big Crit, Raekwon the Chef, Black Thought, Rod Digger, I'll Be Back, Abby Dobson. But most importantly, I'm on it. And, you know, you're going to love it. Just go qualityclub.com right now and go get that.
There you go. Hot 97 Morning Show.